Well, it's been a really interesting journey for us, and we started, as you said, about 5 years ago, and Colin and Chris were working around the clock to bring this story to life, and so I came on board to work with them. Colin and I have been working together for a while, and we didn't know at the time that we were going to be releasing around the time of the 50th anniversary. And it's happened that way. It's because documentary is a long road, and it's all about perseverance, and this is such a fabulous story that needed to get out, and that it now happens that we're going to be releasing around the time of the 50th anniversary of the Revolution, which is October 23rd. And then, of course, the famous game was December 6th. Isn't that right, Irvin? And so that's just so beautiful to have that symmetry and be able to share this story with the world right now at this juncture. So.
Well, I think that for all of us, it's a huge honor to be here in New York and to have the worldwide debut of the film in New York, because I think of the background of this festival and the themes of our movie. There seems to be a really synergistic fit there. And it, like Megan was saying, the fact that it's taken so long is a testament to the challenge for every independent filmmaker. And the only reason we're here now, 5 years may seem like a long time, but in some cases it takes even longer than that, and it's because we've had such a fabulous team and people who have come on at key moments throughout the film's life to give it that extra support, to give it that extra push. So starting with some of our fabulous executive producers that came on board early to bring some initial funding in, starting with Irvin Zador and the players who agreed to share their incredible stories with us, and then our production team, our producers and editor, Mike Rogers, who really had to wade through an incredible amount of material and help find a cohesive story. And then the icing on the cake really was having a combination of USA Water Polo allow us to film with the team and support us from the get-go, and then find this incredible narrator named Mark Spitz, who was a high school All-American water polo player, along with being a legendary Olympian, and who had a personal connection to this story that we only found out about the day we were recording the VO. We didn't even know that until that day. He's like, by the way, guys, I've got a personal connection to this story. My swim coach was Irvin Zador when I was 11, 12 years old. So I think that's what's so remarkable about this film, and why we're so thrilled to be here today, and thrilled that it is the 50th anniversary year that it's going to be coming out.
Now, Irvin, did you believe in 1956 that the story was worthy of a motion picture?
No.
Did you believe that it exists? What are your thoughts when the first time you watched the movie?
It's astonishing reaction I felt. It's something which I was part of it, but I was always inside, and suddenly looking at from outside, it was a very good, very dramatic experience last night to see the movie.
I had done theater in Michigan, but musical theater. Ironically, I cannot sing at all, but they like to throw in a little variety once in a while, and the productions that we're doing at the time, for some reason, were all 70s remakes of, like, Hair, throw in the Asian, why not, and Jesus Christ Superstar, so it was very kind of open, free love, sort of, and so Colin and I met doing Jesus Christ Superstar, and we became very good friends, and we've been best friends since then, and we started this project in the garage of my house, and we all participated. You know, Mike slept on the couch, and Colin slept upstairs in the garage, and Chris and Megan came in from New York, and Chris came in from Hollywood. I mean, we were all very much a group of artists who were trying to pull together something that we really believed in strongly, and every now and then, you know, we'd run out of money, and I'd be like, I guess I have to do that episode. Why did you do that home improvement episode? Well, let me tell you.
I got a
scale plus 10 looked really good then. Things are done for a reason, and sometimes you can't explain them until they're done, and you don't want to. I don't like to talk about anything too much until it's actually there, you know. And so now I can actually talk about it and say that we've worked on it for a while, and when I brought Quentin onto the project, he had already called me about Kill Bill, and I wrote this role, and I was hoping that you could read the script, and I was like, sure, why not? And he came to this the screening. We were doing a fundraiser, and he just had collected a few clippings of what the idea of what we were trying to accomplish was, and it was maybe 10 minutes long. And Quentin had said to Colin that this is the best story never told. So he and his production company contributed a good deal of money to help get the rights to the not only the photographs but also to the archives of the footage, which was expensive, and there was a deadline on it. I mean, there's so many things that we've learned through this process. So it has been great. It's been great to start from the garage and now be able to bring it to people in the public and allow them to see it and have them share. Because I, being Asian American, had never heard of the Hungarian Revolution and was dealing with the 100 years of Let the Flowers Bloom and all of those other situations with Mao Zedong. So this was something that opened my eyes, and I thought it's a very global conversation that's happening and has been happening, and the repetition of history and the patterns that we go through is something that we can actually learn from and understand and see how children and teenagers and students can make a huge difference in the world, and how it does take time, but it begins with planting the seed.
Right, but besides the historical figures that were there on the footages, you are actually the link from the past to us, the audience. How was your experience being the narrator, or the main person speaking to us? And you were pronouncing all those Russian and Hungarian names so well. Did you have a voice coach, or how was your experience?
I'll answer the last part first. Yes, there was a voice coach, and the gentleman was quite a disciplinarian.
He was.
Let's put it this way. I can politely say that had I not gotten through it correctly, I wouldn't be here to talk about it. And I couldn't quite understand what difference it made that if somebody's name was spelled N-A-G-Y, that it wasn't Nagy or Nagy, that it was Nuj. And I said, okay, I'll get it right. We spent about an hour the second day of the voiceover going over this, and it was more confusing than every minute that went by. And finally, it just clicked, and it just worked for me. And the guy actually was very good at what he was doing for us, because I say us because it wasn't just me; it was the whole concept. And I knew that this documentary meant a lot to people of different ethnic backgrounds, and it was important to get that precisely right, and not in the American interpretation of the pronunciation, but the real pronunciation. And so we worked with it, and I went with the flow. And as far as the narration part of it, I was very comfortable with doing it. It wasn't a stretch, and they can validate that because we went through it quite rapidly, or whatever it is, because everything seemed to just work well. A little side note was, they would tell me each to do it a certain way. So it was always it was Megan first usually, and then Colin would follow it up with, well, let's try it this way, and then Megan would come back very graciously, and I thought, boy, this is very polite. Now do it your way. So that went on for about 2 hours, and then there was a little break, and I came back and I said, I'm very competitive. I like to keep score. So how many of my ways? Are we using? And so Colin said, let's do it your way first.